there, I'm Tony Glynn and welcome to the PGG Wrightson Stud Tour. And this week I'm up in Hawke's Bay catching up with some old mates of mine, Butch and Jax Patterson. I've got a Suffolk stud here. It's a pretty top stud, one of the biggest Suffolk studs in the country. Let's go and have a look around. Jax, we're here at GLENCOE Suffolk Stud, and we're in Patoka. Where's Patoka, Butch?
Patoka is about 55 k's northwest of Hastings, and a little valley up there, known for sheep country I suppose, and there's quite a lot of dairy in the area now.
Good little spot in the bay, and you're liking it, Jax?
Yes, loving it.
Great little school down there, they get the kids down there at Patoka School.
Yes, it's quite strong now too, there's about 78 kids down there, so it's a good little school.
Crikey, Jack, how many of them belong to you guys?
Just two.
Just the two of them?
Two girls.
Yeah. Annabelle and Johanna, how many lambs have you been feeding, Johanna?
20.
20 lambs, that'll keep you busy, and you've got to feed them before school, Annabelle?
Yeah.
And then feed them again when you get home?
Yeah.
Who does the most work on the farm out of Mum and Dad, Johanna?
Mum.
Mum does the most work. Is Dad quite lazy?
No, it's just that he has to go to work.
Oh, he has to go to work. What was the project you did at school, Annabelle?
It was about farming, because they live in the city.
Ah.
And they wanted to know about the farms.
Oh, so you're teaching the other school about farming?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be just like Dad. What type of sheep does Mum breed, Johanna?
Suffolks.
And how do you tell what does a Suffolk look like?
He has a black face.
Black face. So one of you girls, or both of you, will have to, one day you'll have to take over the stud. Who would like to take over the stud and be a farmer here? You would like to, Johanna. Annabelle, what do you think that we could do to improve the sheep industry in New Zealand?
I think that we need to teach more people to eat more lamb around the world.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be a lot better for our exports, wouldn't it, Johanna?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of little blonde tigers there, keep you fairly busy.
Yes, they do. They do indeed. They love the farm, which is great. They've each got a wee motorbike and...
You're fairly good with those lambs.
Yes, they are. There is a little bit of money incentive involved.
Yeah.
If they feed them through the season, they get to sell a couple to the works and have their own spending money at the end of the day.
The youngest, Johanna, she's got a little breeding program going there, a couple of ewes.
She has. She kept a couple of pets from last year. They were Suffolk Romney Cross lambs, which she got very attached to, so rather than kill them, she decided that she'd kill their offspring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they've scanned at 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's
very proud.
She's likely to double her flock this year.
And the property's been in the family for a few years now?
Yeah, I think it was 1948 that my grandfather got it. It was a rehab settlement property.
Yeah.
And then he passed it down to my father, and Jax and I have been here for 15 years, 16 years. So I had been overseas for a couple of years doing the good old OE with a couple of friends from Gisborne and whatnot. And before then I was in Gisborne, Tony, looking after you.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of good years up there we had.
Yeah, various shepherding roles and that sort of thing. So I had to get away and relieve the pain a little bit. Went overseas for 2 years and then came back here in '91, and since then have been involved obviously right throughout the shepherding. Started shepherding for Dad. Jax and I got married in '97, and then we bought the little farm in '98, and then I think it was about 7 years ago, Mum and Dad left the farm. We had another farm in town as well, so they shot down there. So it's been a colourful 20 years, I suppose. So.
Yeah. Now your father was a top farmer, Hawke's Bay Farmer of the Year at one stage there?
Yeah, back in 1983, him and Mother won the Farm of the Year. So it was good, fantastic, and it's nice to see a bit of that history. We still go back through the photos and that sort of thing. So
yeah,
nice to see how much the trees and whatnot are grown. So they were fantastic operators here and did a really good job. And as I said, left a really good platform for us, I suppose. So. Yeah. Much appreciative of that, and nice to be in a family business.
So beautiful property, Butch, fairly mixed sort of a contour. And what size is this place here?
Yeah, Tony, it's about 450 hectares now. So in 1998, Jax and I bought 100 hectares next door, and so it attached straight onto the home property. So it's a nice place. We're surrounded by dairy farms pretty well now, which is testament to the country it is, I suppose, and the productivity of it.
The Suffolk ewes obviously got characteristics of their own. What do you love about the ewes?
They're very regal looking, very intelligent. They're entertaining to work with.
Yeah.
You can never really predict what they're going to do.
So they just chop through the yards all right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
If you take them quietly, they go pretty well. But no, they're a pleasure to work with. They really are, aren't they?
I think our stud evolved from about 4 different studs. We bought 4 different studs when we first started, and we tried them from all different places, and probably the best ewes came from a commercial operation like we're running now, and it was at the back of Taupo. Some of the other studs, we bought a stud from Hamilton, I think, we bought one from the Wairarapa and one from Fielding, and they're all treated like stud sheep rather than commercial sheep, and they just didn't cut it with our system, I suppose. So
I think too with them, originally they were quite leggy, and the commercially run stud we bought to go with it, they were quite small nuggety sheep, so they crossed with the original leggy ones quite nicely, and we've sort of now got to the size that we want.
over the last 10 years, we've got the confirmation we want now. We've got the sort of sheep we want, and there's a lot of consistency. So I think it's one of the challenges when you're getting rams from a place with not much selection. That's one of the challenges is getting real consistency. So got some really good consistency, and they're working well for us, working well for us commercially, and if they work well for us commercially, then they'll work well for our clients.
So Butch, here we are down at the office at Farming House in the middle of Hastings. What gave you the motivation to start Rural Directions?
About 6 years ago, I had a fair bit to do with the Young Farmers Clubs, and decided that those guys needed jobs and needed looking after. So about 6 years ago from Patoka, I started the Rural Directions up. It's grown into something a bit different now, so we're probably dealing with 50% sheep and beef, probably 30% dairy, and the rest agribusiness. So I just wanted to provide a platform where young people could get into the industry and be looked after. The theory was that today's shepherds are going to be tomorrow's managers, and therefore the decision makers, and we've been in it 6 or 7 years, and those shepherds are essentially the decision makers now.
So good team here, Butch. Some been here since the inception?
Yeah, Gretchen's been here since we started. I suppose when I started the business, I had a fairly good understanding of farming, and she had a fairly good understanding of HR and recruitment. So we got together essentially and put the business model together. Robin, who's on the front desk essentially taking the call, she's been here since the start, and we've got Mandy, who is our candidate manager. I think it's important that we manage the people, the unsuccessful job seekers, as well as the people that do get the jobs, because one day they'll be the person that gets the job. So she looks after that really well, and she sort of manages the social media. She's a different generation to me and you.
Yeah. Do you reckon there's still enough young people in New Zealand keen on getting into the agricultural side of things?
I think there is. I think there is enough young people, and I think it's the training's the key thing. I think the training's morphing into a on-site thing now, on-site training now. So, and I think there's quite a lot of training farms, particularly in the sheep and beef industry. Yeah. There's training farms being developed where they stay on site and they actually get their practical training, because the tricky thing with particularly sheep and beef farming, until such time you're at a level where you're quite skilled, you have no value or limited value. But it's a cost getting you to that level. So it's one of those things. Unless you've got a dog, you can't get a shepherding job, but you can't get a shepherding job until you've got a dog. So it's and I think that's where those on-site training sites have been really valuable. So
it's a fairly big responsibility putting someone forward for a job. You've got to qualify them. A lot of work there.
You do. I think we've got a bit more technology now and a few more systems, I suppose, and recruitment and HR is a lot about systems. So One of our things that we're using a lot at the moment, or resource we're using a lot at the moment, is like psychometric evaluations, which scares a lot of people, but it's used a lot in the business world, in the agribusiness world. So we feel that we understand our candidates really well before putting them forward now. So, and I think it's getting adopted into the farming systems more and more. So
Yeah.
it's like we essentially do a psychometric evaluation on someone, and that by the information from that we glean to how they report themselves. Once we know how they think they are themselves, we can do reference checks against it, and with their work history in the past. So it's a pretty robust system, I think, and I think a lot of businesses are coming to us for that now, for exactly that, because it's too much risk getting the wrong person in. So
They're not writing their own references like we used to.
no, they're not. No,
Jack's beautiful view up the top of the farm here. I can see why you're not in town. You let Butch go and do the job in town, and you stay here on the farm.
Yes, no, it is. It's a magnificent view. We can see over my left shoulder. We can see right out to Napier, Cape Kidnappers.
Yep.
You can see the lights at night. Straight ahead, we've got the Taupo Road, Tipahui, just where that bit of green is.
Yep.
The last bit of green under the trees. So yeah, no, it's everything you could want's right here, really.
Yeah. You've been planting a few trees around the place and doing a few green things.
Yes, we have. We've got quite a few springs in these hills, so we're just fencing off where it flows down, the waterways and everything, and currently planting flaxes and
Yeah.
a few natives around the place.
Doing your bit.
Doing our bit,
Yeah.
yes, doing our bit. And yeah, it's sort of over the next 2 or 3 year plan. We hope to have them all done by
Yeah.
then and finished.
Already a lot of nice trees on the place. Butch's father must have been quite keen on it, was he?
Yes, they had a big thing, both he and his grandfather, about planting so many trees a year.
Yeah.
So, no, it's very well planted all round.
Yeah.
Now, Butch, I'd like to ask you about stock numbers on the place, but since we've been here, I see your car buggering off about 7:30 every morning.
Jack's is a large part of the farm, so I'll let her explain the numbers to you.
Yeah.
We've got about 2,000 commercial Romney ewes. The mixed age ewes we put our Suffolk across for early lambs. And then our 2-tooth and 4-tooth Romneys, we put a Romney ram across for our replacements. Then we have 540 Suffolk ewes in our stud, and we sell probably about 250 rams each year. We use all our Suffolk 2-tooths and we put a Texel ram across them. Then we kill all the ewe lambs and DNA test and sell all the ram lambs.
Yeah.
I think the purists might say that you shouldn't use your tooths to crossbreed with, because essentially that might be your best genetics coming through. But I suppose our theory is that that we're happy to use the tooths because the genetics coming from the older ewes are actually proven. So, but the purists might say that we're missing out on genetic gain, but we're happy to forego that for some accuracy.
And just starting to get right amongst the lambing now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Kicking off with a roar.
Keep you fairly busy, and a few triplets popping out.
We've got a lot of triplets this year, and a few quads coming out as well.
So 500 stud ewes, Butch, gives you a lot to cull from.
Yeah, it does, I suppose. We, as our lambing percentage creeps up, and it does that generally, it gives us a lot to cull from, 700-800 lambs sort of thing. We start with and sell a couple of hundred rams, 250 rams. So we need to keep doing that, and I suppose that's one of the key points for our business. I suppose that we've actually got a decent amount of selection pressure. So 600 ewes. I think about 5 years ago the average Suffolk stud was 38 sheep. So I think we're in a different space to that, and we run a very commercial sort of operation.
Where are you sourcing your stud rams?
I suppose the Texels, last couple of Texels we've got from Premier Texels in Hawke's Bay. I think we've had a bit of a challenge. I think studs have challenges of getting the sort of bloodlines they want to fit their country, so we've actually used quite a lot of our own size of late. We've had rams from all around the country in the past, and when we had a Romney stud years ago, we used to go through the same challenges, I suppose. But I think the plan is this year we need to start getting some outside bloodlines. So we might even take a tour down to the mighty Southland and have a look down there.
Technology making things a little bit easier there, Jax?
A lot easier. When we first started with it, we were taking a pen and paper out and writing everything down, then coming back in and retransferring it to more books at night, only to mail it down to Wellington later. But now we DNA test everything, and it's so much easier, which we do at docking.
Yeah. All the lambs are tagged with RFID tags, and so we get pretty good traceability. So makes it simple. Accuracy's getting better and better. It's expensive, but it's cost effective for us. There's so much trust in ram breeders, you know. So if they trust that we're doing our job right and they understand that we're doing everything that we can with technology, then the expectation is when they come and pick rams, it's a pretty simple process. So
Yeah.
suits our system, and we've got to develop our program that suits the system, I suppose. So
Yeah.
we've got other things on. If we just had a Suffolk stud, it'd be pretty simple. We'd put all our energy and direction into that, but because we've got other things, it's a part of our business, and we treat it like a part of our business. Treat it as commercial as we can.
Callum Thompson here at Patoka. What sort of an operation are you running here, Callum?
We've got about 3,000 acres here, and many and varied things actually. We've got about 4,200 ewes, which run on the sort of steeper country out there. On this better country here, we've got about 700 heifers, May heifers that we run. We winter about 640 dairy cows, local dairy cows.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we've got a couple of big John Deeres that we run a small contracting company and a digger and dozer as well. So, yeah, and also rearing calves, autumn and spring. So, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
pretty busy, yeah.
Yeah. And lucky to have a few dairy farms locally too.
It is really, yeah. It's certainly bolstered the farm income a little bit. Yeah, having the dairy farms around here and the ability to service them with grazing and with contracting the groundwork as well. It's really sort of boosted our income a bit. Yeah.
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 Now, you're no stranger to the camera, Callum. 2007 was a fairly good year for you. What happened there?
Excellent year. Won the National Bank Young Farmer of the Year contest, and it was after a few years pretty hard work that we put into that. But yeah, came away with a great result and some really good prizes there. So yeah, it was a good year.
So fairly happy back here now on the home place and knuckling down and...
Yeah, that's right. I've been here for nearly 15 years, back on the home farm now, and it has expanded quite a bit sort of in the last decade, and like I said, there is, you know, a number of different enterprises to it now to keep us busy, and really enjoy it. Yeah.
Now, you get your terminal size fairly locally.
That's right, yeah. Butch and Jack's live next door, and they do a great job of their Suffocks over there, and we've been buying them for probably a good 5 or 6 years. We've been buying them from there now, and we have some great results.
Sourcing the rams from the neighbours, not just a friendly gesture?
No, not at all. No. We when they first started the stud, we'd go up and down the road and look at his stud rams on the side of the road there, and so we started buying them. And we've been buying them for 4 or 5 years. Really great results, and all of those sort of problems that can be associated with Suffocks are slowly starting to disappear. The feet can be a bit of a problem with them, and that seems to be all but gone now. And also very meaty rams, good sort of eye muscle. Those you can see it on the lambs, you know, big hams at the back, and I'm really pleased with the lambs that are coming out of our hoggets. And this year we had an excellent result. Actually, we had I think 1,050 that we put to the ram. We got 830 in lambs, so I'm very happy. But we've been doing that for 4 or 5 years and had some pretty great results. Typically the lambs are sold store in sort of January, February. Last couple of 3 years we've sort of got up around that, or close to that $100 mark for hogget lambs, which you know is I've been really happy about. It's really helped bolster our income, that hogget lambing. In fact, one year it was so good we came really close to killing the lambs off the hoggets, which would be, you know, that would be the ultimate.
Yeah.
But yeah, typically they're sold store off mum.
Jack's, the hoggets, looking well out there on the crop.
Yeah, they're very good this year. We've mated our Suffolk hoggets for the first time, and we've put a Texel Suffolk cross ram lamb across them. So, and they did about 106%.
Not too bad. You haven't lambed hoggets here before?
We have our Romney hoggets, but we haven't our Suffolk hoggets.
Yeah. So, Jax, do you reckon the commercial guys are putting as much emphasis on selection of the terminals as what they would do for the maternals?
Yes, they are. Just different traits they're looking for.
But I think that the traits we're selecting for are essentially weaning weight and live weight 6.
Yeah.
So if we can target a couple of traits, 2 or 3 traits, work on them really hard, our genetic gain will be really strong.
They're not just sending the horse float down telling you to fill it up with black-faced rams.
No, this is the odd guy from the coast does that, but apart from that, we get some really good clients. Yeah. We've had some of them, well, the majority of them since we started our Suffolk stud, which has been going about since '99, I think it is. So we've got some really good loyal clients, and they trust what we're doing. We've got a pretty good understanding of what they're after now, and I think we've got a pretty good sort of program for that. So everyone used to come and pick rams from us. Now probably 50% don't. Because they feel that they trust our program. They know if we're doing things right, then they're going to get the right results at the other end. So, we've probably got 4 or 5 clients locally that are they're just about our immediate neighbours, and then probably Paul Bays looks after the majority of the rest of them throughout the country.
Paul Bays with PGG Wrightsons here at Hawke's Bay. What's your area here, Paul?
I cover up the Taipi Road, up towards the Wairoa Road, down just generally around Hastings area.
Yep.
Pretty spread out area, yep.
Yeah, and quite a few sales here through Storford Lodge?
Yep, we have a prime sale every Monday, and every Wednesday is our store sale, sheep and cattle.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're using lamb starting to sneak through?
Just starting to come through in the last few weeks, and a very good inquiry too, because there's plenty of grass around here and not a lot to eat at the moment. On Hawke's Bay here, we do a lot of winter lamb trading. We buy a lot of lambs in the autumn, and Hawke's Bay normally has a pretty kind winter. So we finish a lot of lambs, and this year it's been quite hard. There's been a lot of direction from the freezing works with pricing. So the margins this year have certainly been squeezed big time.
Yeah.
So certainly not, farmers aren't making the margin they'd like to.
Yeah.
The costs are increasing.
How's the sheep numbers holding up in the bay?
Yeah, no, good. The last couple of years, a lot of farmers have retained more ewe hoggets and taken them through, and people put more ewes on. It's been good. Yeah, the wool job was good. That's sort of changed a bit now, but no, I think the last 2 years sheep farmers have had quite a good run.
You've had a fair bit to do with Butch and Jax for quite a while now up there at GLENCOE.
Yep, yeah. No, it's good farm up there. Got some good sheep. Been very wet for them though, Jack said. But no, they're going really well, and they do a good job with the sheep.
Now, where are you placing all these rams?
A fair percentage come locally around here in the early country. And hey, they go to Wanganui into the hill country, Taupo, up to Gisborne, Wairoa, Marsden, just really general.
Yeah.
Yep. No, they go over up in the hills.
You got a few clients there that don't even worry about coming and having a look now. You just send them a few up.
Yeah, we still get a few people who like to come and pick through them, and Jax or Butch, if he's about, puts a good pick up.
That wouldn't be very often.
No, you just ring Jax and sort it with her. But I suppose 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Now, ram selling not too far away?
We get a little bit staggered now with our ram selling, because of course we have towards town the early boys, and so we tend to sell a few rams about November, and then the rest of them, the majority, we probably do in January.
For more information on the PGG Wrightson Stud Tour, visit ruraltv.co.nz and come and join us on Facebook.